So I actually asked the same question years ago. I said to my rabbi in Shema Yisrael that every Jew is supposed to know. Every Jew is supposed to know Shema Yisrael. Unfortunately, in Eretz Yisrael today, there are over 1 million kids in Eretz Yisrael today that do not know Shema Yisrael. I fear even thinking about the number, what the number is in America, because it's drastically worse. There was actually a short 3-minute video that I saw yesterday or the day before, where somebody decided to give about maybe a dozen or so, 10 secular Jews a test to see if they can withstand it. How many of them can keep kosher for 1 week? That's it. They've never kept kosher before. They don't go to shul. They don't keep anything. American Jews want to see if you can keep kosher. These are the rules of kosher. You have to eat, can't eat milk and meat together, can't eat pig, can't eat shrimp. If you're going to eat in your own house, you have to use kosher utensils that went to the mikveh, and so on and so forth. Now, technically, kosher is the easiest mitzvah to fulfill today. It's the easiest mitzvah that actually requires action to fulfill today. Why? Because Baruch Hashem, Hashem made it so easy that in practically every store that you're going to go to, you're going to find kosher products. Meaning that to actually fail at keeping kosher, you have to try to fail. You have to try to fail. You have to simply decide, I don't want to keep kosher. Why? Because it's so easy to keep kosher. There's nothing that is not available to you. Even if somebody wants, let's say, some of the tastes that are not kosher. For example, you want to taste the taste of milk and meat together. Today they created soy. They have soy and soy-based cheese. You put it on a meat burger, and that's it. The soy is not real actual dairy. You can put it on the milk, have a cheeseburger, and enjoy yourself. You want bacon? There's turkey bacon. That's kosher. Turkey bacon that's kosher, perfectly fine. Enjoy. You want shrimp? There's fake shrimp. Go to any kosher store, any kosher sushi place. They have fake shrimp. Meaning that anything you actually want, you can get that taste in a kosher way. Which means that if you're not keeping kosher, it's simply because you don't care. You don't care. Now these 10 kids, you figure, you know what, this video is going to show how Am Yisrael is the best. That even though they haven't, that's what I was expecting, 3 minutes. They made it 3 minutes a highlight. They have to highlight just 3 minutes. You're going to highlight Am Yisrael's Gdula, Kedusha. They're the best in the world, right? So I figured 3 minutes, they're going to give me 10 kids that never kept kosher in their life. And in 3 minutes, they're going to show me how 10 kids did tshuva for at least one mitzvah in 1 week. That's what I thought. By the end of the short film of 3 minutes, not a single one of them kept it. Not one. Not one survived a week. Not one kid. One girl says, oh, wow, I went out drinking last night. I got so wasted. I ate a bacon, egg, and cheese for this morning. I forgot about the whole contest. The other guy says, oh, yeah, this kosher stuff, not for me. The other guy went to McDonald's, asked him, do you have a kosher menu? Meaning, Rabotai, we're so far in America from where we're supposed to be that only the truth is going to help us. The soft approach is simply not going to work. Telling people, you know what, keep kosher, this is going to be enough for you. It's not going to work. Without a fear of punishment, without a fear of the Almighty, you simply will never keep the Torah. None of us will. Without a fear of a Holocaust, whether a personal one or a national one, people will never do tshuva in this generation. Quite frankly, in any generation. Once in a while, you're going to find somebody that's motivated by some inspiring story without the fear of God. But to overcome the big tests without the fear of Hashem, it's never going to survive. So one day I asked my rabbi, I said, Kvod Harav, in the mitzvah of Shema Yisrael that every Jew is supposed to know. He says, Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, Hashem is one. The God of Israel, God is one. Now, after that, you say, Ve'afta et Hashem Elokecha, b'kol levavecha, b'kol nafshecha, b'kol meodecha. And you love the Hashem with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your money. Meaning you loved Hashem and showed it. How? All your heart was dedicated to Him. You didn't go to the baseball game, you went to a Shiur Torah. You didn't go watch some show that you're not allowed to watch, you watched the Shiur Torah. You didn't read Harry Potter book, you read Sefer Torah. You have your heart, is with Hashem. Your life, meaning you're dedicating your life. You're dedicating your life that to such an extent that even if somebody was going to shoot you, say, I'm going to either shoot you, or you're going to go and make a sex crime. You'll die for Hashem. Instead of making that sin, you die for Hashem. There's 3 cardinal sins. Somebody tells you go to a church and pray to J.C. Penney. You say, no, I'd rather you kill me. Why? There's 3 cardinal sins that it's better off to die and not make those sins. And then your money. Your money, the obligation is to love Hashem with your money, meaning that investing into publicizing HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name should be your number 1 investment. How many of us actually are fulfilling that part of the mitzvah? I don't know. Probably not many. Anyway, the whole mitzvah starts with ve'ahavta, and you loved Hashem. Meaning, you're not doing all these things, the money, the time, the heart, everything, because you're afraid. You're doing it because it says, because you love Hashem. So I asked my rabbi, same question she asked. How can I love Hashem if, technically, I can't really speak to Him and Him speak to me back? I can speak to Him all I want, but He's not talking to me back. At least not the same language. He talks to me in different ways. Things that happen in my life, different signs that happen, but not the same way like you and I are speaking. I'm not Moshe Rabbeinu. So how could I love Hashem if I've never actually had a real conversation with them like I have with Betzalel, like I have with Sonny, like I have with you guys? How? How could I have a love for Hashem if I never saw Him? I can't see Him. Even if He says, I want you to see me, I can't see Him. Why? He has no image. He has no body. There's nothing to see. There's nothing to see. He can give you, make a lightning if you want, but that's not Him. He can open the heavens and show you, I don't know, cool angels, but that's not Him. He has no image. He has no body. So how could I love somebody I can never see? How could I love somebody that I can't smell? He doesn't have a smell. Even though the Gemara says in Masechet Shabbat that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu came down to Mount Sinai, every time a word came out of His mouth, He brought a wind, came with an extraordinary, beautiful smell of heaven, and filled the entire planet with it. The entire planet smelled heaven with every word. So what does it mean with every word? It means that every time He finished the word, a new wind will take that smell away, and a new smell would come from heaven. That's how beautiful Mount Sinai was. That's also part of the reason of why all of the other nations knew that Mount Sinai happened. I can't smell Hashem. I can't hear Hashem. I can't speak to Hashem. I can't use my senses as my bottom line. How can I love Him? The answer is, Rabotai, is that if you're looking to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, there is only one way to connect to Him. And that's through His Torah. And the reason why is because since Hashem knows His creation, He says, I know you're going to try to connect to me, but I'm not like you, so you can't connect to me like you connect to somebody that's like you. You have to connect to me in the only way you can connect, which is through the instruction set that I provided you. I gave you a Torah, which this Torah is going to allow you to get to know me, get to know things about me. The more you get to know about me, the more you're going to get to know things that I want from you. Once you start realizing, oh, I want these things from you. I want you to be modest. I want you to keep Shabbat. I want you to keep kosher. I want you to keep all these different mitzvot. You're going to say, well, why should I do it? One end, I'm telling you, well, if you don't do it, I'm going to punish you. Okay, well, that's kind of like putting a gun to your head. Is there a better reason? Yes, there is a better reason. The better reason is because those things are good for you. Now, in the beginning, you may not believe me. You may not believe me, Hashem says. So try it. Try it. Try taking on a new mitzvah today. Everybody here, take on a new mitzvah. Something you're not doing. Something you're not doing. For those that have been with me for some time that are already keeping the basics, take on something more. If you're studying for a half hour a day, study 45 minutes a day. If you're not watching your eyes, start watching your eyes. If you're not, do something that you're not already doing. For the new ones, take on something that you're not doing. You have, Baruch Hashem, a list of choices. If you're not keeping Shabbat, keep Shabbat. If you're not keeping kosher, keep kosher. If you're not modest, take on some modesty. If you're not wearing tzitzit, wear a tzitzit. I'll give you one for free if you want. If you're not learning every day, start learning every day. Press play every day for a new lecture. The point is, do something. As you start doing what Hashem says, not only will you get to know Him, but you're also going to start seeing how doing what He says, after all, is good for you. It creates a pleasure unlike anything else in the world. But not right away. Because there's interference. The Satan, the Yetzer Hara, will interfere, will try to encourage you not to do it. So if you overcome that test and you do what Hashem says, even though sometimes it's against your own logic, but you do it anyway because Hashem said so, you'll see that you actually start getting fulfillment out of it more than anything else in the world. I'll tell you a personal story. In May of 2006, we sold one of our positions at the time. I was in the business world at the time. We sold a position. We had 10 million shares of a company called Sirius Satellite. And then we also had a bunch of millions of shares in some other company. Long story short, we made a bunch of money for people. So on that day, my fee to finally collect my fee on what I did for a couple of years was $1.6 million. I started the morning at 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock, whenever it was. By 10:30 in the morning, my bank account had an extra $1.6 million in it. By 10:35, I was back to work. Meaning, I made all this money where I called, actually, my wife, who was my trader. I told her, listen, sell everything. All these positions, sell everything. Baruch Hashem was a very liquid position. We sold everything. We made a bunch of money. Okay, how much did we make? Oh, you made $1.6 million today. The clients made a bunch of other money over the years and so on and so forth. You yourself, commission, $1.6 million. It's a pretty good day. Best day of my career. That's 10:30. At 10:35, I'm back to work. Hey, Mr. Jones, listen, we got to do this, we got to do that. Go on vacation. Go dance. Go party. Go do something. No, I went back to work. Why? At that point, I've already made a bunch of money. Now, I didn't make $1.6 million in a day before that. I made a bunch of other money. I made $500,000. I made close to $1 million. But that was the most I ever made. That was the high point. That was the highest point. But by then, I've become desensitized. I've already had some money. And I didn't really care for it in the beginning. I didn't care for it after. So nothing really changed. All it is that my computer set an extra few numbers on it. That's it. So for me, the pleasure was 5 minutes. Now you're thinking to yourself, yeah, well, if you give me $1.5 million, I'm going to be happy for more than 5 minutes. Yeah, that's you. Give you that for a period of time. And guess what? You'll become even more desensitized. Dvash matzata echol dayeka. Ken tizbe'ena ve'ekiato. Shlomo HaMelech says, you found honey, eat a little bit. Why? You eat too much, you're going to start vomiting. What? We need Shlomo HaMelech to give us a diet plan? Not to eat too much honey? Not to eat too much sugar? No. What Shlomo HaMelech says is that even if something is the sweetest, even if something is the best, even if something gives you the most amount of pleasure in the world, physical pleasure in the world, take it easy. Don't do too much. Why? If you do too much, eventually that beauty, that pleasure, that extreme good thing will become disgusting to you. Because you'll become numb to it and you'll eventually get to a point where you're disgusted by it. So at that point, my pleasure was very, very minimal. I went back to work. I continued working. And my fulfillment was much greater when I first made my first $1,000 than it was when I made my $1.5 million in one day, because of how things have changed. It's not the same with Torah. It's not the same with mitzvot. When it comes to spiritual pleasure, you are doing things that are not always rational. You are doing things simply because Hashem said so. So you're trying to connect to Hashem by doing what He says. Even though you can't see Him, you can't hear Him, you can't speak to Him, can't do any of those things, but you're doing stuff that He said. What does He do in return? He gives you pleasure like no other. And in fact, the more you do this thing with full meaning and full intention, the more pleasure you'll get out of it. The more you learn Torah, even though you've learned the same page 5,000 times, you'll get more pleasure out of it. Much more than money, much more than sex, much more than eating, much more than anything else in the world that's physical. Why? Because spirituality does not have limits. So, with that being said, the answer is simple and difficult at the same time. It's simple in a sense that Hashem says, how do you connect to me? It's through my Torah. The difficult part is that you have to do things that are sometimes against your current logic in order to actually see the answer fulfilled, in order to actually see the answer come to life. I can tell you that when I learn Torah, I have pleasure. You may not get that same pleasure day one. You may read the same page I read, and you're not going to get the same pleasure. You may not even like it, actually. But if you keep doing it, you'll like it eventually even more than me. Why? Because that's one of the promises that HaKadosh Baruch Hu made us, that is one of the benefits of this world, when we connect to Him spiritually. And sometimes that spirituality takes a little bit of time to build up, but overall, it always works. It never fails. And I've seen, Baruch Hashem, many, many stories, aside from myself, of people that have done it and have benefited from it greatly.